everybody. So today I'm going to do a little bit of macrame. And so what I'm going to use are these Egyptian Scarab bead. It does have a large hole, and this is 2mm gray leather. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack down some of this gorgeous cup chain that I got from Randy at Thunderhorse Descendants. And then I'm going to macrame around the cup chain on the leather. But I'm going to tack it down with some hypo cement and hold it in place and let it sit for a little bit while I cook dinner, and then I will come back and I will macrame it up with you guys. So, all right, let's get to tacking this bad boy down. Okay, I'm gonna tack it probably right here. I'm just gonna put some hypo cement right on this leather cord. Hypo cement does not harden when it dries, and that's fine since I'm tacking this down onto my I'm just tacking it down so I don't have to worry about it when I'm macrameing. And the macrame is actually going to be our secure point for the cup chain. Okay. All right. The tricky part is actually getting it on here. Oh, whoops. I'll bring that down a little bit. There we go. Okay. Now it's pretty much tacked down up here. I'm not too worried about it back here at the bottom because as I macrame, it's gonna hold in place on its own. So for now, I'm just gonna let that sit and kind of dry up a little bit more while I do some things around the house. I'm gonna flip it around here and I'm gonna push that up just a smidge. I do know that my cup chain is the same length on both sides. So even if my leather isn't quite even on both sides, it will be when I finish this up. So I'm going to take that hypo cement a good portion of the way down. Like I said, this is not going to be a permanent hold. So, and I really do not like those little beads that come, and I've discovered that my skin seems to not like the glue. So I'm looking for something that I can wipe it off with. I'll just wipe it off right here on this plastic and get it stopped up. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to tack down or put my cup chain on the leather. Okay. And sometimes it cooperates and sometimes it doesn't. You just gotta finagle it a little bit and tell it where you want it to go. Okay. All right. All right, let me get my tweezers out. Might help me a little bit. I apologize for the noise. Okay, the pearl tweezers will work. Okay. And like I said, this does not have to be on here perfectly. I just need it to hold well enough in place so that I don't have to mess with it as much when I macrame. And when I macrame, it will move it around a little bit because this is not fully secure, which, like I said, is what I want. Okay. I do kind of want it to be up here even, but when I macrame, it will be just fine. Okay. So I'm going to let this sit, go run my errands from around the house, and then I will be back to macrame this. Okay guys, I am back and we are going to get started here. I have chosen this purple thread here. This is Ceylon 0.5 millimeter, and I have done a wingspan ×2 in it for this part of the project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to square knot my all the way down until the end of this chain. I'm going to start here at the top, and then I'm going to do a square knot, one, minimum of one in between each one of these crystals. I chose this royal purple color because I felt like it really played nicely with the green and the turquoise. So what I'm going to do is get started, and it's always really tough to start with macrame, especially with the square knots. Okay, so we're going to get it to the middle, and I'm going to hold it here with my finger as best I can because it is really tricky when I want this square knot right at the butt of my scarab. So I'm going over my thread here, and I've got my other one, and I'm going under and up through this P shape. And it looks like I just knocked my cup chain off my leather. So we're going to do a P shape, and we're going to go over this P shape, or this thread, and under and up through. And I'm going to worry about fixing that after I get this first square knot on. Okay. All right, so we're going to do one more, and then I'm going to reattach my cup chain here. Yep, that's not nice. Okay, so let me just redo it here. We'll get this started again. And I think I got it twisted. Yep, there it goes. Okay. Getting this started is always the tricky part. So we'll just get 2 square knots on here. And then we will reattach the cup chain and see how it works out. And if it doesn't work, then we can always just scrap this whole project and I'll try something different. Okay. Let's put a little bit of hypo cement on here again. Just to tack it down once more. We'll see how it works out. Like I said, all of this All of this is going to be covered by the macrame anyway. So you can just pull this off because look, it comes right off the leather. But I just wanted to tack it down so that my macrame or my cup chain didn't become a nuisance or hard for me to work with. Okay, get a little dab of glue there, a little dab of glue. Okay, a little dab will do ya. And we will reattach the cup chain. Once I get a couple square knots on here, it won't be too bad. Okay. Good deal. Lucille. Let's get that all the way up there, and we're gonna fall off again. I don't need you doing that. And if this isn't going to do what I want it to do, I've got a backup plan. Just stay put. Thank you. And here's my backup plan, just so I can get these first couple on here. All right, come on. There we go. That's actually going to be what I need it to do. Okay. All right, Mr. Cupchain. Working with Cupchain on leather in this manner is really, can be difficult, especially since I'm only doing it on one piece of leather. But my cup chain is not big enough for 2 leather pieces. Okay, I need that cup chain to go right up front here. We'll try to tack it down one more time. All right, and then I'll put my little clip on top of it, and hopefully that does it for me. Okay. Try once more. Not ready to scrap it, obviously. There we go. I want to pull it down just a smidge because I don't want it on top of those square knots. But I want it right up against my square knots. Okay. And now I've got this little clip. This particular clip is one that I got from my mom. It's the last one from her. So I'm going to keep it separated from these that I got from my friend Brandy. And I I'm going to use some different colors here so that I don't get them mixed up with that one of my mom's. Okay. Here we go. And there we go. Okay. And now we'll do our P shape. Go under. And like I said, this first one on the cup chain is going to be a little bit tricky because you want to make sure that your loops and everything get right in between the cup chain and the leather. Okay, here we go. I like to pull it tight because this Ceylon can be slick. It's not really sticky. Okay, we got our first one on. All right. And we're gonna get this one going. Okay. Down in the groove there. And up through. Oh, and I got that one in the wrong groove. That's okay. It's loose enough that I was able to pick it up and put it where it goes. Okay. Now I can adjust all of this when I'm done. But I'm trying to put a complete square knot between every cup. Oh, I did it again. Got it in the wrong groove. That's okay. We'll pick it up and put it over. There we go. That groove. Come on. There we go. And we'll get this bad boy in the groove as well. Oh, went too far ahead. There we go. That's the groove I wanted in. I have noticed that this round leather is not really liking my work. So it's not aligning up very well. It's not doing what I would prefer that it do. It's not getting tight like I would like. So we gotta wiggle it just a smidge so we can get both sides of the square nice and tight. There we go. That's nice and tight. There we go. That's much better. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's move the picture up just a smidge. Okay. All right. There's that. And I'm going to pinch this on again. There we go. I'm in my little groove. And let's pull him tight. With a square knot, you want to make sure that you do both sides. You can do the right and then the left, or you can do the left and then the right. As long as both sides are done, you have a complete square knot. Okay. I would recommend watching Sarah Lovecraft. She breaks it down really easy for doing square knots. She is my favorite macrame teacher as far as square knots, and she calls them tushy knots go. And P shape. Come on. Get it tight on there. There we go. Okay. Now we're getting to the point now where my little hook is not going to work. And that's fine, because we've got enough of it attached. We should be fine. Okay, so we'll do the right side. Pull that through. I'm going to get that right there. And pull the left side. Okay. There we go. And now we're going to pull that tight again because I just yanked it out. And we're going to do the left side of the square knot. We're going to make sure that left side goes where it needs to go. And we're going to pull it through. Okay. And now we're doing the right side. And we're going to bring it down to the groove there. And I'm going to hold that down with my finger as I pull a little bit. A little down with my finger while I pull. There we go. Pull that tight. Now we're going to do the right side, or the left side. Over the right, under the core, through the P shape. All right. We got 3 more to do, and then I'll do 2 square knots at the end. All right. Get that through there. There we go. Okay. 2 more. So I bought this stand here on Amazon, and I'm trying it out for the first time tonight on this recorded video here, and I have to say, I'm not too sure I like it. These end pieces kind of get in the way as you get close to the end here. Oops. Okay. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So I got that there, and now we're going to do the last 2 square knots here at the end. And let's try not to get hung up on my little stand here. I gotta say, I'm not a fan. So I might like a Naughty Do-It-All board, but for right now, that's an expense I'm not going to do. But that could be a possible purchase for the future. Okay. Now I have some length left, and I'm not going to finish this off yet because I may want to extend out my square knots a little bit more. But for now, we're gonna call that done. And we're going to work on this other side. All right. We're going to take that and we're going to go under the core. This first one is always tricky. So under the core, and I pulled out my P shape, but that's okay. I can make it big again because it just hugged the core. And then we're going to go under the core and through. Okay. There's number one for that side, and now here's the second part of our first square knot. Okay, and it did loosen up on me, so pull that tight, and then we'll move the second part up here so that it doesn't get caught on our cup chain and mess up the cup chain again, which I guess is possible. Maybe I should go ahead and clip that on so I don't have to worry about it later. And I just lifted it off. I should have just left it alone. Let bygones be bygones and see what happens. No, I just had to mess with it to try and be proactive in the preventativeness of it, but I messed it up. Okay. All right, so there's our 2 square knots right there at the scarab bead. All right, now I got him, that one right where I want it. Let's see if I can smush it down so that it stays, somewhat stays. Without giving me a headache. Oh, come on. Please, please be nice. Okay. I might have it temporarily. Okay. being difficult, please. I don't know how Sarah Lovecraft does this anyway. The macrame with her fingernails are much longer than mine, and mine are natural. Okay, so I've completed that square knot. Okay. Did I get hung up somewhere? I did not. Okay, that's good. Let's pull that as tight as I can. And we're going to go under and pull. All right. There we go. So there's the right side. Pull that as tight as we can. Now we're going to do the left. Okay. Right. And left. Okay, now I got loose here, but that's all right. We're going to do that. There we go. Right side and left is coming up right after this. Okay. The right side. I feel like I got a little lopsided, but I don't think I did. Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right, come on. Do what you're supposed to do. There we go. It's still a little loose, but that's, you know, the nature of the sea lawn. It's not really very sticky. A wax linen would be better for that, but I really don't like the texture of a wax linen on a macrame bracelet. I don't like it to feel sticky when I wear it, and wax linen is very, very sticky. So I will put up with the hurdles of working with sea lawn just so that I don't have to feel sticky when I'm wearing it. but wax linen does have some great uses. I do like it sometimes when I'm knotting. It will go through some of the beads that are machine drilled with no problems, especially if you do 2-strand. I typically use a 4-strand, but a 2-strand works too, and it will go through smaller beads. So using that as a knotting medium, I think is wonderful. But for something like this, where my personal preference is to not have the wax linen right up against my skin. There are probably a number of people that could do it. I am not one of those people. Okay, we are just about through with this, and then we can measure the bracelet and see how much additional length we need by just adding some more macrame squares to it. And it may be that I need to push this down a little bit further to get more room on the other side, but I don't think that'll be a problem. I do know that my cup chain is the same number of links on both sides, so that much I do know. I also know that I did not perfectly center this on my little piece of leather here. So there will be more leather excess on one side versus the other. I am going to finish this with some leather cord ends. Pardon me, I got a little bit of a hiccup. So and Randy calls them fold over tacos. The style I'm going to use is a little bit different than the standard foldovers. These are more rounded because this is a round leather, and I feel like a rounded cord end would be better. It is still a fold over, but it's rounded. I'll show you what I mean when I pull those out, because I did not pre-pull them out, but I have a drawer here that I will search through. Oh, okay. I do see a problem. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Maybe not. Okay. Maybe not. Might have just been how the piece was laying, which is entirely possible. Okay. Okay, come on, cooperate, please. Okay, now we're at the end, and we're gonna do our 2 square knots. And then we are going to take it off of our little form here, and we're going to give it a measure. We're going to see how big it is and if I need to add additional square knots to give it more length. Okay. Take it off. Okay. Let's see my knots on this side. These will go right up against the skin. And it will curve like a bracelet. So that's going to be super pretty. Okay. I have a bracelet mandrel right here. Let me grab it. This one was given to me by Dorothy. All right, let's see where we're at. Okay, so if I take it right up against, okay, so we're not very large there. I want to keep it for myself. This is a bracelet I am making for me. So I think that I could just finish it. Macrame as far down as I can go. Maybe 10 macrame knots. And then call it good. And put on my end caps. So let me find those. Here we go. Is that them? These might actually be too small, but I know I have other sizes here. So let's just pull this out and we'll put it up against the leather. It's probably just the right size. These came from Bargain Bead Box. And I think these are gonna work. This is a 2mm leather. Oh yeah, that's gonna go right on in there. But it doesn't fold over the leather very well, so those might actually be a little too small. So let's see if I've got a bigger size here, which I'm sure I do. I don't think that's a style I want to use, so I'm gonna say no to that one. Okay. There we go. These are the ones I'm going to use. Perfect. These are stainless steel. They are larger, substantially larger, but I'm going to macrame out of the end, and then I'll include the macrame in there. So let's see, how much length do I have on here? Let's see, 3. Oh, wow. Okay, So I'm going to continue with my square knots here. I've got 2, so I'm going to go down to maybe 10. We'll see how far, because I got a little uneven on my thread, so we'll see how far my cord will let me go. Oops. All right, so that's 2. And here's 3. Oop. Messed that one up. Okay. 3, go over. All right, 3.5. 4. This is not typically how I would do this, but you saw how close it was on my form there. And I really need to reach all the pieces of the leather. Okay, and this is 5. All right, 5.5. Okay, there's 6. And we got 6.5. And a 7. And a half. And 8. And a half. Wait, did I just do that wrong? Okay. Let's see, where are we at? Counting the humps will tell you where you're at. So let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 completed square knots there. So here's the start of 9. Okay. And here's the completion of 9. And now we're going to do one more. Okay, here's the half. Oop. All right. All right. There's the half. And here's the completion of number 10. Whoops. Okay, we'll do that one again. Okay, just hold that. There we go. And number 10. Okay. And now I'm actually going to turn this over, and I'm going to do a little overhanded knot on the back side, and we'll glue that down, and then I'll burn the ends as well, just for a little added protection. because this is going to be underneath my crimp end or my leather cord end. Ooh, whoops. Apparently I forgot how to tie a knot. There we go. All right, there we are with that. Let's throw a little bit of glue on top of that knot right there. Okay. Come on. Okay. And here's my little scissors. That might be a little too long. It's okay, I can trim that down. There we go. Okay. There we go. Maybe just a smidge more. There we go. Close enough. Because, like I said, this can be under a crimp, and I've already glued it, so we should be good. There we go. Okay. Now, I'll get my little crimp out. Okay. Got a little tape on this little guy. No biggie. Come on. Are you really not going to open? There we are. Okay. Okay. And now I'm going to trim. And I'm going to put that right in there. Yeah, that fits nicely with the macrame on there. Okay. Where are my pliers? Okay. These pliers are my favorites for this type of situation. These came from Randy at Thunder Horse Descendant. See if I can get that in just a little bit more. There we go. And I'm going to squeeze these down. Okay. Pinch that down. And then I'm going to come over here. These are stainless steel, this particular cord end or crimp end for leather. So it is being just a little tough to move around, which is fine. Okay, that is on there. That is nice and secure. Okay, I'm going to move my excess materials out of the way. Okay. And we're basically going to do the same thing on this side that we did on the other one. Okay. And we have our two. I'm going to use my pliers to hold that down. Okay. Actually, I'm going to undo this one, it looks like, because that did not complete properly. Okay. So we're going to try the left side again and hopefully get it right to where I've got a hump on the right side. There we go. So there's my two, and now I'm going to work on number 3. This one might be a little bit easier because I've got longer leather here and longer cord. I must not have had it centered on the other one. So there's 3. And this is 4. And 5. And 6. And 7. And we got 8. And 9. And 10. Okay. I like to push that up because I don't like my leather to show through very much. Okay, I will turn it over and we are going to tie the overhand knot on this side. All right, and we'll do a dab of glue on there. Very nice. Probably way too much glue, but you know, it is what it is. Looks like I squeezed this tube accidentally. So I need something to clean it up with, and I do not have anything right here. Well, maybe I do. I have some junk mail right here. There we go. Okay. I gave it a minute to set up, and now I'm going to trim that. Oh, got a little baby mosquito in my office. Interesting. Okay. Alright, now we're going to trim this leather down right to where the macrame is, because our cord end, crimp end for leather is going to go right over the top of that. Okay. Now we're going to get our heavy duty pliers. They're really not heavy duty, but they are amongst the best out there. Even my bead-along pliers just don't feel as sturdy as these particular pliers do. So I do like these above all others for this type of project. And like I said before, this is a stainless steel ending here, so it is harder to manipulate and close, and that's why you hear all the pinching, is because this metal is not the softest out there. Come on, quit being difficult. There we go. Okay. Now, we're going to see and it did end up being a little bit too big for me, but that's okay. So by the time I get the clasp on it, it's going to be about 7 inches. And I think that'll be just fine. I'm a 6-inch wrist, but I think the 7 inches will be okay for this. Okay. There's some stainless steel jump rings. Those are a little big. Okay, come on, I know I've got some clasps that will actually match what I've got going on here. Here we go. Oh, these are just gunmetal. I don't think those are stainless steel. And I don't see any stainless steel on my desk. Okay. Thanks for hanging in there while I find a clasp. When I go to edit this video before I post it, I will attempt to speed through the stuff that doesn't matter. So I'm actually going to put an Old Faithful on here. I think that little Old Faithful will work just fine. And I think I'm going to use the larger stainless steel jump ring for it. Yeah, that is a little big, but I think it'll be okay. And if I need to make it smaller, I can definitely do that with a smaller stainless steel jump ring. But for some reason, my other container of jump rings is not here on my desk, which is really odd. And did I just put that on backwards? I sure did. Okay. Okay. Well, let's these guys are sometimes hard to take off the socket. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this on off camera. My goodness, I cannot get it to snap. I probably could have got away with 7 or even 5 knots. Come on. There we go. Because this guy is too big for me, as you can see. Yeah. There is a lot of space there. I could have easily just done 5 knots and had plenty of room. As you wear a leather bracelet, it does get softer, so it won't be so rigid. But I do like how it turned out, and I'll have to make another one that's a bit smaller. I do have another little scarab bead right here, and if truth be known, I probably have like 20 of the scarab beads. Okay, so with the clasp on, oh yeah, it ended up being 7.5. 7.5, yeah. Definitely a little big for me, but I can put a smaller jump ring here and that'll shrink it up to probably 7.25, maybe even 7.5, maybe even right up to the 7 if I put the smaller ones on there. So yeah, but I really like how it turned out. The Scarab bead this is an Egyptian bead. It's got some hieroglyphs on the back here. They are made in Egypt. So yeah, I just really like how it turned out. Yeah, it's a pain to work with the cup chain on top of the leather like that, but the reward just makes it so worth it. So worth it. Okay, well, this is Kimberly with My Beaded Bliss, and we have made a beautiful bracelet. So, follow along. I will do some more. Like and subscribe, all the fun stuff. Leave a comment, share with your friends. And again, I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much. Bye.